agenda. Meeting of the Scituate Board of Health, Monday, December 18, 2017, Selectmen Chambers, Town Hall, 6 p.m. Make a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to open the meeting and accept the agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, schedule items. Discuss, vote, septic system design hearing, 17 Kings Way, Morse Engineering representing homeowner, request for installation of septic system, requiring local upgrades and variances.
For you. Copy of the plan for each. Okay. For the record, my name is Gregory Morse. I'm a registered engineer with Morse Engineering. This is a septic system upgrade project at 17 Kings Way. The property owner, Carl Just, is requesting a local upgrade, which is the setback from the septic system to the property line. That's what brings me before you. I've notified the abutter who's here with us tonight. I have the green card with the proof of mailing for Jen. The septic system we had submitted probably a little over a month ago. Jen made her comments to it. We revised the plan, and now we're before you. Jen did share with me a email from the abutter that was submitted with concern regarding the setback to the septic system. And so what I did is I have revised the plan again, and that's what this is in front of you, the revised plan. It pulls the septic system off of the lot line an additional 2 feet from where it was previously proposed. This is a septic system repair. This is not a new construction project. The home has been remodeled, but it's an existing 4-bedroom house. It has a failed septic system in the backyard. What we're proposing to do is to put in a new septic tank in the backyard, which is a 1,500-gallon tank, and plumb it over by gravity to a distribution box on the right-hand side of the house, and then a series of leaching chambers. You can see how those are laid out. A portion of the project is within the buffer zone to the wetlands. This has gone to the Conservation Commission. They have approved it, pending your approval and issuance of a permit. In reviewing the locations for this septic system, we did analyze all 4 sides of the house. The backyard itself for the leaching system really isn't a good option due to the proximity to the wetlands. The goal here is to try to stay as far from the wetlands as possible. Immediately in front of the house, we analyzed the front yard. There isn't really room there with respect to the 20-foot setback from the foundation, the 10-foot setback from the road, and an existing water line that runs through the middle of the front yard. We looked at the left-hand side of the house. Although not depicted on the plan, there's a topography change. It would have required a substantial amount of fill on the left-hand side of the house. There is substantial vegetation there, mature trees, deciduous trees, which run along the lot line and onto the lot that would be required to be cleared. Those would have an extensive root system with them. There's also a gas line that runs in that side of the house. And so we looked at the right-hand side. The right-hand side is where I conducted 2 test pits and found suitable soil. It's where we've proposed the system. Septic systems are typically required to be 10 feet from the lot line. We've requested a minimum setback of 7.1 feet. Title 5, 310 CMR 10.405 is your local upgrade approval section, and it lists a series of local upgrade approvals, subsections A through K. The board, in reviewing local upgrade approvals, is supposed to look at those in the order that they are listed. The first one is septic system location setbacks with respect to property lines. The board is supposed to waive setbacks to property lines before they waive setbacks to foundations, setbacks to wetlands, before they consider any of the other setbacks. The email that was shared to me, there was concern regarding some arborvitae that had been planted along the lot line. I've depicted that location on the revised plan. I snapped a photograph of the site. you can see the area that we're proposing our work on our lot is existing grass area. I don't suspect that this excavation is going to have any negative impact on those arborvitae location. They would remain intact, and I don't see the root structure for those expanding out significantly onto this lot.
Well, before we start talking, Mrs. Grant, would you like to say your piece?
Yeah, so I think the original plans, we had looked at 5 feet.
Come to
So-
us, come to the so
Sorry.
Just state your name.
So, go ahead and get us in the microphone.
Emily Grant. So the original plans that we looked at did have just a 5-foot setback, and I see this has gone more to 7, which is better, but I'm still concerned about the row of arborvitae that we have planted there. They've been there for about 11 years, and we would put them up, and we've been taking care of them for a long time, and I think that the dig for this leaching field will actually go into the root system, and my husband was very concerned that they would actually collapse because of how close it is to our property line. And also, there's vegetation over here too, but I guess I'm not clear as to why that takes priority over ours. Because I do believe there's a wider spot over on this side as opposed to our side. Because that's where we actually had to put ours, right? So our septic system is actually right here as well. So I'm a little bit concerned. I'm a little bit concerned about,
Yeah.
because that project as well, when it was done, there were a lot of issues with it, with water and drainage, and the electrical was not done properly. We had to, the person that did the septic, we had to take to small claims court because of the electrical system, so.
Greg, excuse me one second. This is a repair. Where is the existing field now? What are we?
The existing system is kind of a gray line out back, right where the proposed
Oh,
septic
it's
tank is.
just-
There's a leaching,
Oh, I see.
an old leaching field in the backyard.
Right.
Yeah.
In our regs, they're supposed to show systems on abutting properties. I think I've been through this before, but especially in a case like this, that it should be depicted on the plan, at least an approximate show, because this is close to the lot line, so we don't know if it's going to affect someone else's system.
Sure.
I thought that was in our regs to show it on the abutter property.
Not that I recall off the top of my head, but
Yeah, it should be
I
in there,
haven't seen
especially
that.
for something where where it's coming, it's one thing if it's out to the street, but if it's, you're asking for a waiver to the property line, then we should know about the abutters too, because it could have an effect on their system, which is a valid point.
Sure.
And Greg, sorry, excuse me one
Yep.
more time. The, in front of the house, why is that not a feasible place?
Sure. So I'll do Russell first and then yours. Regarding the abutting septic systems, I don't know that that's in your regulations, but I do know what the requirement is. The requirement is that you can't place a septic within 10 feet of an abutting septic system. I have looked at the as-builts for this property, number 21. Their septic system complies with the 10-foot setback to the lot line. So effectively, between systems now, you'll have 17 feet between ours and theirs. So we do comply with the requirement, whether it's shown or not, though I don't know that that's in your regs. The front yard, the reason why we didn't go in the front was, and this also goes with why it doesn't go to the left, that portion of the house has a full basement under it, as opposed to this side here is a garage. And so the front yard and the left side yard have a 20-foot setback from the foundation out. And from the front yard, you go out 20 feet, and then from the front property line, you do a 10-foot setback. The house sits 34 feet off of the street. So you'd only have a 4-foot wide strip to fit a septic system without the need for a local upgrade approval. You'd be looking at the same local upgrade approval if it was in the front yard. Compounding
But
that.
the abutter's the town at that point.
You butters the town at that point.
Right.
Compounding that, though, it's unlikely you could have it flow by gravity to the front yard due to the topography. And thirdly, there's the existing water service and a gas service.
Well, you said that was on this side of it.
Yes.
The gas service is over here,
Right.
yeah, and the water services right in the middle of the front yard, yeah.
And then, so, and why can't we split the difference between, so I see how it's slanted, I'm going from 7.1 to 7.8, and I see 11 from the tippy corner of the house there. Is it
Yep.
not possible to give them another foot and get that to 10 feet?
From the house.
10 feet from the house?
Yep.
I mean,
I
we're,
see a walkway there.
yep, there's a walkway and a paved driveway that, you know, we are encroaching into that paved driveway with this overdig. We're cutting into it now.
Right.
I figured we could cut 2 feet out of it and still keep it as a standard width driveway.
And the trees are right on their
They're-
property line.
Yeah, they're right on the line. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if we do look to go to the other side, then we're approaching closer to the 50-foot buffer zone. I like the distance from the house to the lot line, but then
The distance from the lot line to the house,
You're in that buffer zone more.
you're into the buffer zone more. You have to deal with a gas service relocation, which is a,
That's not, that's.
yeah, which is possible, but
Right.
you try to avoid.
Sure.
I think that's
The
actually what they did
vegetation-
with ours. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
The
Because-
vegetation on that side, though, is larger deciduous trees. I mean, you're going to have much more impact on those trees on that side than with an arborvitae that has a, you know, typically a ball and burlap is how it comes, and it's going to be a much smaller root system. So you're, getting it on the left-hand side, you'd be looking for a local upgrade approval with respect to either a cellar setback or a property line setback.
Yeah,
And
right,
we'd be,
same, you're
we'd be
asking on this
facing,
side.
we'd be facing the same decision over there.
Yeah.
So you couldn't get 10 feet off their property line?
And then 20 feet off of the foundation, you'd only be left with a 10-foot strip. The house is about 40 feet from the lot line.
And
I think
this,
some of the issue we're looking at over there, at least in my own mind, is that wetland line and the buffer zone. We try to keep a septic system as far away from that as possible.
sure.
And I think that was probably the main reason why the engineer chose to go to the right side, not the left. I'm hoping anyways. I mean, as far as cutting trees down, that is no concern of us. Putting the system in the ground. And again,
Yeah.
try to keep them away from the wetlands. Gas line you can move, that's not an issue.
So,
I mean, from what I can see of where those lines are, it's not that different.
Well, it's the 50-foot buffer and the 100.
We excavate up
There's a shed
against,
there. That's right.
There is.
And over
Okay.
here,
Yeah.
it's less, you got more of it out of that buffer. That's the only thing that, in my mind, keeps me over to the right-hand side.
You're required to stay out of the 50-foot. In an ideal world, you stay out of the 100.
Right.
You're required to be out of the 50.
you know, and the topography, I didn't topo or contour the left side of the house there, but there is a rather significant dip along the lot line that would be required to be filled. You would be grading at least into the 50-foot buffer zone, most likely, with a septic system over that side.
I mean, kind of, to me, it makes sense where he's putting it. If he can slide it over a little bit.
yeah, why
Sure.
can't we do 4 rows of 12 chambers? You know what I mean? Instead of so elongating it here and here and taking off this last row here. Is that doable?
So if we do that, we would need a setback to the street, and then
And
in the
then-
back, we'd be looking at taking down the existing shed that's there.
Right.
Let's see, we
I
named
know it
1,
gets
2,
close.
3, 4. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
I actually believe the
7,
shed
8,
is
9,
technically
10, 11.
Too close to the property line anyway,
There's
so
no,
if we
there's no
need-
setbacks to a shed of that
he's
size.
already
Oh,
approaching
they told us
the
that
ground.
was when we put ours up.
Over another foot.
2, 3, 4. Only if it's more than, I believe, 120 square feet.
Correct.
You'd
Yeah,
have to
it shows that on the
you'd have to
plan.
add
If you
3
came over
rows
10,
lengthwise to make up
yeah.
that one.
Right.
So you'd be right up against the 50 here, which would then require work into the 50 and up against the street.
And bedrooms, the field can't be 2.
That's the minimum size.
So what is this for? 10 feet to 5.2 feet.
7, that was revised to 7.1,
Uh-huh,
10 to 7.1.
right.
What's that, like an overdig on there?
So there's a 5-foot overdig, there's also a conventional septic system that you have to show you could fit on the property.
This rounded, the rounded is the overdig.
Is the overdig.
And the square is the full-size conventional that's required to be shown.
But you gotta take the overdig.
Yes.
I think the overdig is what my husband was concerned about with the trees.
7 feet.
Yeah. And you were talking before about our septic system, so is there any concern with having them so close, or is
No, I
that?
think Mr. Morse described that,
Yeah.
that they're not supposed to be, if I remember correctly, 10 feet.
Okay.
In proximity,
From
this
each
one
other?
actually is correct, and these are
Okay.
actually 17.
So it doesn't need to be the 20, it
Right.
just needs to be.
Ideally, you'd like
Versus
20.
10 feet from the property line?
10 feet from the property line.
Yeah, ours is right there, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So ideally, what the thing is we're trying to do the best we can with what we have to work with.
Okay, yep.
And,
I just want to make sure
the
I understand that
variances are
there's
there
no.
in place. We would not grant variances for new construction, but where this is pre-existing, and variances are granted regularly to accommodate.
Okay.
You have to, we can't, hey, you're gonna move out of your house, it's done. That would not be right.
Yeah.
Just trying to think, I
Um,
mean, obviously, you're gonna stake the wetland, not the wetland, excuse me, the property line.
That was staked today.
That was staked today, so I don't know the root system of those trees. I understand your concern. Did you see the property line staked?
No, not today, I did not, it's probably
It
on
was,
the
it
other
was
side.
right toward the end of today, but there's
arborvitae.
2 stakes out there.
Okay,
There's 2 stakes out
Are
there.
there people living in the house now? I see a dumpster there.
No, it's been under
it's been
renovation.
vacant.
Yeah.
Hence the
Where are 2
arborvitae.
stakes?
The front property corner, and then there's another one just off of the shed. So it establishes that line for them.
Can you see between the 2 of them?
I believe so.
So then the trees
I have a-
are clearly on,
Oh, yeah, the trees are clearly on their land, they're
right,
there.
so you can visually see
Yes,
it
you
on
can.
this corner and see
See
the,
the stakes.
Yes.
oh, yeah, trees. I can't guarantee it, but I'm 99% sure they'll be fine.
Yeah,
And
I mean, do we have any repercussions if they're not, if it kills everything?
it's out of our realm.
So the property line is essentially this stake right here out to the utility pole at the street.
Yeah.
So the
Right at the
utility pole's up
corner.
back here, right? So this is in the backyard?
Yeah, the shed is right here, so we're right off of the shed, looking out toward the street. The front corner is, approximately where that utility pole is. So,
2 feet.
that just came in at the end of the day, so.
Okay, so that.
That's the line.
That's
So
the
then we're
line, so
going
7
2 feet
over.
further over this way
Was where
is
you're
where
gonna
we
dig.
start to dig.
Okay.
And we go further over to the right. Yeah.
I
So,
said this
I
last
understand
week.
you're in a little bit of a bind
Well,
here.
no, it's like, I'm not an attorney, I've said it last week, I've played with TV, I don't know anything about attorneying, but, property rights and other things, a lot line's a lot line, what's on your side is yours, what's on there is the other, what would somebody say if roots from your tree grow over onto the neighbor's property, and they crack a swimming pool?
Right,
Who's liable? You didn't intentionally do it, and then, so somebody comes in and whacks the root off to protect their pool, henceforth your tree dies.
right.
Where's the liability stand?
Although, I mean, the regulation of the setback is there for a reason, right? The 10 feet, and that's probably part of it, is so that they don't dig into any,
I would say it gives you the 20 feet for separation between septic systems, but again, it goes back to the
Yeah.
variances that we grant on a regular instance, and Mr. Morse has given a pretty good case of why that system's there.
sure.
And to me, when I look at it, I'd love to put it over on the left side. I could care less about the trees,
It's
that
the wetlands.
means
yeah.
nothing to me, it's the wetlands, and that's a definitive line that's been staked. And we'd kind of be thumbing our nose at conservation.
Yeah, we've worked with them, with the wetlands, so I understand
Well,
that
why not?
point.
Yeah, and, you know, we're trying to do the best we can
Yeah.
to keep it away from the wetlands, so he's put it in ideally the best spot
Okay.
Well, hold on.
for the septic system.
Let me play devil's advocate here. So, as I asked before, why can't we split the difference of that 11 feet from the house? And the reason I asked, if there's somebody living there, if nobody's living there now, then they're gonna have to readjust anyway.
Hmm.
So give them an extra foot and a half, if it's feasible, you know, and then you're gonna cut into the driveway anyway, so what's the difference? If there's nobody in the house now, I mean, it's all in the renovation anyway, so what's the difference?
Give them an 8-foot setback.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
split
Would be
some of the
nice.
difference, split some of the
If
difference.
it's 8 feet, sure. That's why I revised it from 5 to 7, you know?
Right.
So,
I mean,
let's-
if they're- if
Let's
they're-
put it right at 10 minimum
If
to the
they-
house, that's fine with me. You know, it's just trying to save a little piece of the driveway, but I'm sure we can cut
Well, the
another foot
driveway's-
of driveway off
A
if
foot
we're
of the
already
driveway
doing
is
it.
not gonna make a difference.
It's not gonna make a difference.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know,
And then that just gives us a little extra. play
Sure.
on
Yeah, I
the
mean,
side.
it makes both parties amicable today.
sure,
Yeah, I think that's the best
You know,
case
just-
scenario
yeah,
then.
So
it's
it,
fine.
get you a couple more inches over
Okay.
anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
at least
Okay.
a peace of mind, you know.
Mhm.
8-8.
8-8.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
Yeah.
8-1 and 8-8.
So you see that, right?
Yeah.
Be 8-8
Yeah, I see how
here,
it goes.
8-1,
yeah,
sorry.
okay.
All right,
So,
we good with that?
Thank you.
Anybody else?
No, I'm good. I think that all works and it's the best we've got to work with and I'm glad you came in
Greg, you're all right with that?
to take a look at it. No,
Yeah,
it's,
thank you. Yeah, and
We have to trust an engineer licensed within the state of Massachusetts. We second look at it to make sure they haven't missed anything.
Mm-hmm,
So it's like a three-step process, and the public meeting is going to come in and say, hey, you know,
right.
if we can help,
No,
that's awesome, it makes for better
we're
neighbors.
just gonna initial it for you.
Yeah, so I think
You
the
know.
compromise is
Yeah,
the best we can do, yeah. That's good,
and it
okay.
gives us an open way to express why we did it, so nothing's behind closed doors.
Right, sure. Okay, great, thank you.
I'll provide just
Thank you, I'm
for
glad we did.
approval.
Can I
Yep.
take this to show my husband, or do you
Sure
need
you
them all
can.
back?
Nope,
Okay.
they need 4 of them, so.
He's the attorney, so I'll let him look at.
Well, you know, he might be able to think about the
I
rules
know.
and go over the law.
I think that's what-
Yeah.
What?
Did you mark it 8-8?
No, actually, I probably should.
Yeah.
So, okay. Can I borrow your pen?
Yep.
Thank you. I think he'll be okay with this, because he understands,
So this-
we were talking about the wetlands.
Here are the changes
Oh,
for you.
oh,
got-
thank you.
This goes to 10, this goes to 8.8, this goes to 8.1.
Okay, and we'll go look at the stakes
And
tomorrow.
this goes to
Move to approve the
8.1.
septic repair plan with the
Okay.
following variants and local upgrades requested.
Go.
Thank
As
you.
identified in the plan dated. still
Today, 12/18.
12/18/17. Reduction in the required setback between the SAS and property line from 10 feet to a minimum of 8.1 feet to 8.8 feet at the other side. Number 2, reduction in required separation between the bottom of the SAS and the groundwater from 4 feet to 3 feet. And 3, to allow a sieve analysis.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. All right,
Great.
there we go.
All right,
Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Hang on one more. We found another place to make
One more.
revised note.
Okay.
Right here. There you go.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
great, thank you.
Thank you. Lou.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Have a good holiday.
Thanks.
All right. New business, discuss vote Board of Health meeting schedule. I didn't see any issues.
Oh, no, I didn't either, no.
So,
Make a motion to propose, to accept the proposed BOH meeting schedule for 2018.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Director's report.
Oh, I'm going to interrupt. Can I bring up new business? I was going to ask, in light of what just happened here, I'd like to go to, look at those regulations again. I would like to propose that in the future, like the very near future, that if there are setbacks that are requesting a variance to property line, that the abutting system is shown on the plan, and I could have sworn that was in there. And
Especially if it had irrigation or a well or anything.
yeah, it should be in there. If it's not in there, then we'll put it in there.
Okay, yeah. I have-
Especially in a case like this, that,
It's
to me, that's,
marked too, so.
it's there, and it's a newer system, and it wouldn't have been anything for the engineer, any engineer, to come in to the Board of Health, look at the abutters, which he clearly did, he was aware of it, to put it on the plan that we can see.
Sure.
And it works for the benefit of the new homeowner, the abutter, for us, for everybody. It should be on there. I'm not as worried about the septics on the other side, it's the one,
Right.
especially where there's a variance
So
request.
did you know about those bushes, or they have a big root system, or do you know anything about it?
I'm not an
I don't think
arborist,
so,
but I don't
like you
believe
said,
I
I think
do.
they come in a,
So
Burn.
maybe years before the roots really.
but I mean, there's another tree there that they cut down. I wonder where those roots go.
Well, it said it was gonna be removed.
Right,
Right.
right, yeah, they'll have to remove it for the system. So in the kind of big picture, I have kind of a running list of things that I'd like to revise within our local regulations. So
Sure.
I can add this, if it's not already in there, I can add that to that running tally.
Yep.
And in the short term, I've been working on a checklist to provide to the engineers so that they know right off the bat everything that we look for on a plan. So that when they submit a plan, to hopefully kind of save some of these multiple revisions that we're seeing, ask them to submit a completed checklist. I can add this to the checklist, you know, that they show, you know, abutting septic systems on the plan in the short term, so that it becomes part of our local plan review
Right,
until
like the
it gets
houses
into our
with
regs.
the bedroom count and a
Exactly.
sketch of the house, and those are little things you don't see on maybe other towns' plans that we have. And, yeah, absolutely, I mean,
So
that's
I
a great
can put it
idea,
on
a
the
punch
checklist
list,
too.
yeah. Yeah, you want, what they are, you want scale, you want blah, 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 yeah, show all
So I
the
can,
lines,
so I can add it to the checklist so that it
Yeah.
becomes routine.
I'm pretty sure that's in there, I'm 99% sure, because there's a few of the older engineers that come through here that show septics.
I'll check tomorrow and
On
I'll
buttons,
shoot you
so,
a note
yeah.
and confirm, and if not, I'll put it on the running list of things to revise in ours.
Sure, yeah, that should be a quickie one night, boom,
Sure.
done, change, subsection, blah, blah, blah.
All right.
Okay. Director's report.
Yeah, Mr.
All right.
Move along.
So short little update, permitting is ongoing. We continue to process installer and inspector applications as they come in, since there's no formal deadline, they just kind of come in as folks submit. In terms of the ones with deadlines, we have one outstanding food permit application. We've got one outstanding pump and haul application that's not complete, and as of today, we're down to 3 outstanding rubbish removal permits. All of these folks have been contacted multiple times, so we're hoping that this week we'll do it. I'm not sure what else we can do to compel the information to be submitted to us. But we're slowly but surely working our way through them with a lot of follow-up by Joan. We have 9 current housing cases, 1 new one as of today. Unchanged, we have 3 nuisance cases. Septic, we have officially issued more permits this year than last, as we continue to increase each year. We're currently reviewing new and revised plans received between, I think we're up to now, December 6th. December 1st, so we're slowly but surely trying to catch up. We have 2 outstanding operation and maintenance repairs that are needed, 5 outstanding operations and maintenance contracts, I think 4 of which I sent out letters to just last week, so hopefully we'll get a good response there. And we have 16 septic systems in known failure or conditionally passing, with follow-up being done as needed. Food in general, not necessarily permitting, but food in general, we're starting to receive applications for that winter farmers market. I think we received a few just today. So I think we're at about a half a dozen maybe now, which we'll start to look at either next week or the first part of January, since it begins towards the end of January. Also trying to, kind of a New Year's resolution thing, update our catering documents and education needs so that we're getting more catering registrations. I know I mentioned to you in the past that it's kind of one of those pet projects that we've been trying to work on. We still continue to try to work on it, and hopefully with the new year coming, we can start fresh with some of that stuff. We still have 4 or 5 flu shots available, so we're coming down to the end. Flu season is very strong right now in Massachusetts, so flu shots are available during our nurses' hours on Thursday. And then speaking of the flu and speaking of our nurse has requested that we revise the flu revolving fund, because she would like to be able to offer additional public health vaccines, such as shingles and pneumonia. So I'm going before the Board of Selectmen tomorrow to present it to them. It involves a town meeting warrant article and so on, so I'm going to present it to the Board of Selectmen tomorrow. If they approve it, it'll come back to you on January 3rd to review and hopefully approve her request. If you approve it, then it'll go to town meeting. So more to come on that. And that's all I have.
Okay.
That's a lot.
In
Little
4 or 5
updates.
days.
What's that?
In 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Old business, anything? Other business? Ralph Cole saying signing. Administrative invoice approvals.
We have several. They're not all Ralph, but we have several for your review. As you sign, so just a reminder, with the approval of the new board meeting calendar, our first meeting will be a Wednesday, Wednesday, January 3rd, due to the New Year's holiday. It will be here, but it will be Wednesday.
Yes. The refrigerator. In a prominent place.
Excellent.
Motion to adjourn meeting?
Second.
All in favor? Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.